On March 27th, 2020, the day Steven Universe Future concluded, Rebecca Sugar was asked in an interview with Comic Book Reader, "Tell us something you haven't told anyone before about any of the gems." To which Sugar responds, "Wow, that's a bold request. Have you noticed that they're all solar-powered robots?" Now, for a lot of fans, this isn't news. We've been figured this out, and although Sugar has never specified the solar-powered part before, she has mentioned in the past that they are artificial intelligence. We've seen that they can glitch out when their gem is cracked, that they can essentially be factory reset, they can have parts of their programming overridden, as evident with White Diamond's powers or Steven coming into existence, as that required traces of Pink Diamond's data to be overwritten, such as the personality and form. For all intents and purposes, Steven is Steven, and that includes the gem. We've seen firsthand that it's not just Pink Diamond anymore. But all of this got me thinking, what if the gems were able to rig themselves? We already know they can kinda do this in some form with Bismuth's weapon upgrades, but what if they were able to modify the actual gem? What if they figured out a way to kick into Overdrive? What does that mean? Allow me to explain. We often plug our Patreon and feature shoutouts here on the channel, but if there's one patron that I really need to shed a spotlight on, it's BLACKFOOT FERRET, someone who has been supporting us for years, in our highest tier, out of the kindness of his heart. BLACKFOOT's channel consists of theories, much like the extensive catalog found on the Roundtable. In the past, he's dabbled in Steven Universe and Star Wars, but a large focus of his then and now is Five Nights at Freddy's, with him cooking up a massive Five Nights at Freddy's theory, the first chapter of which serving as the most recent upload on his channel. Go check it out, subscribe, and let him know Roundtable sent ya. If you want to support the Roundtable, consider checking out our Patreon, but no pressure at all. Things are scary for all of us right now. Now back to your regularly uploaded programming. It's been over 2 months since the conclusion of Steven Universe Future, and thus the Steven Universe television series as a whole. Those who subscribe to this channel for Steven Universe, which I know is a bulk of them, probably have noticed that we haven't been actually talking about Steven Universe ever since its conclusion, which for a lot of people probably makes sense. But I'm just gonna be honest and vulnerable, but please save your sympathy if you feel any at all for whatever reason. I talked about Steven Universe so much for almost 4 years straight. And while some of that content was chasing the bag, you gotta pay the bills, we have an office, I'm an employer, everyone else who's involved in this channel, their food is put on the table through payroll I submit. But I think a larger reason was, I have ADHD. A trait of ADHD is hyperfixation. Let me tell ya, I love my cartoons. So naturally, Steven Universe was constantly on my brain. Wasn't the only show, wasn't even the only animated series. But after the show ended, I felt like there were 2 things I had to prove to myself, even if they were things I already knew. 1, this channel wouldn't die after the show concluded, and 2, I can make content, successful content, beyond theories. And well, 2 months later, I think I can say this channel has accomplished both. Even after Steven concluded, you guys were still watching. New people started watching. And something I didn't expect is that when Rick and Morty came back and we continued doing our videos on it, those videos have done amazing. Which, if you look at the beginning season 4, our content on it did not do amazing. So that was a nice change of pace. But again, we have content that does well beyond those shows, and thus, I'm still as excited as I can be for the future, despite, you know, the world going to shit. After being told every day, your channel's gonna die after Steven Universe ends, all you can do is make Steven Universe content, I needed to step away, help out the other hosts with other videos, make some of my own videos here and there, and then revisit making Steven Universe content. So here goes nothing. Era 3 is such a fascinating concept that the Cooniverse was not given enough time to explore. If these characters and world ever returned in any way, shape, or form, the Crystal Gem B team deserves a lot more focus. Namely the inventors, Bismuth and Peridot. I'm sorry Lapis, nothing personal, you just, you know, water, terraforming, meat morph. You got it covered, you know what you're doing. Sure, Bismuth and Peridot are wrapped up in Little Homeschool right now. But as the episode Little Graduation showed us, you're always going to continue to grow, and that includes your career, your passions, and your hobbies. I'm sure Bismuth and Peridot are having a great time at Little Homeschool, teaching other gems about the culture they cultivated. But we know Peridot at heart is a techie. That rock loves her technology. And Bismuth? while she still is foraging and crafting away at Little Homeschool, I think her ambition is only going to grow. Hell, if any of the crystal gems are anything, it's ambitious. With Steven gone from Beach City, although I imagine there are more than enough gems to neutralize any future impending threats that come to Beach City, and oh god, Steven's not here, I think the gems would still seek for an extra layer of protection. In particular, they would want to be able to 100% defend themselves, considering the hybrid of a human and a diamond is off living his own life, exploring his own adventures, even though they obviously are going to keep in touch. Yet because Era 3 is all about figuring yourself out and exploring new things, breaking the mold, and being encouraged to do so, I think the Crystal Gem B team can make some serious magic happen. Now, there has to be like inventor gems on Homeworld, right? The gems who designed the ships, the rejuvenator, the injectors. I'm sure right now, if they truly have a passion for inventing, they're cooking up some weird, crazy shit. Era 3 knows no bounds. But essentially, with the resources that these engineer, inventor, scientist gems have at their disposal, if they come in contact with the notable Bismuth and Peridot, I think they would all come to the conclusion of, whoa, hey, wait, we're robots, we're AI, we're machine, and although that doesn't define us, we can define that. I believe Bismuth and Peridot would work together to really push what a gem can do to the absolute limit. They would develop their last line defense, the secret weapon, a card to always pull out of their sleeve in any desperate situation. Essentially, they would invent their own anime-esque transformation, one that, in terms of enhanced abilities and weapons and powers, kind of falls in line as the gem equivalent to Pink Steven. If gems are solar-powered robots, would they be optimized to perform at a certain speed, to output a certain amount of energy? If so, I believe these transformations would just be a way for the gems to operate at full power, which is why I call this their Overdrive transformation. Think of it as Mega Evolution or Dynamaxing, a temporary state, and the risk, the big consequence, the drawback of it all, is that because they're performing at maximum power, pushing themselves past their limits, not only would they only be able to sustain this form for so long, but when they run out of energy, when the battle is over, they absolutely have to poof. It's the only way for them to properly recharge and reform as a stable gem. But what would these forms actually look like? Luckily, I brought in the amazing ARTWITHKODA to whip up some designs for Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl, what their Overdrive forms would look like. Side note, for videos like these where we explore hypotheticals and, get these designs and speed paints commissioned, would you want the artist on and actually speak if they're willing? Because we can make that happen, and it would probably give you guys a better idea of how we came to the conclusion for some of these designs. Starting with Garnet, I think all gems would get a little boost in size, but a lot of the big features of their current reformation would become very pronounced. One thing I wanted for Garnet was for her goofy visor to become, well, even goofier. Actually, alright, I gotta be honest, I don't think her visor's that goofy. Instead of imitating the look of a 3-point star, her visor would become that of a full-fledged 5-point star, with the design on her torso following in a similar fashion. I imagine these Overdrive forms to be peak crystal gem, so for Garnet, someone who has had stars all over her reformations, here they would be out in full force. Her shoulder pads increase in mass, becoming much more similar to a diamond's. The colors on her feet would shift a bit, but without a doubt, the biggest takeaway, something that I would want for all of these forms, is another weapon upgrade. Yes, we have Bismuth's upgrades, but honestly, why stop there? I would definitely have these forms be as unique as possible, and that includes their own specific weapons. Here, Garnet's gauntlets cover up her entire arm, gaining massive metal claws, and a nod at Ruby and Sapphire with a touch of silver and bronze or gold. You know that complete JoJo reference that Garnet pulled off in Ocean Gem when fighting her water clone? I imagine that's how she punches all the time in her Overdrive form. Not only would she be incredibly fast, we saw how Sapphire grabbed Ruby and made a break for it, faster than even that at all times. If anything, I think Garnet's Overdrive form would be comparable to the Hulk, so unless you have a Thanos, you're kinda screwed against her. Next up, we have Pearl. Now, when approaching this, the big idea I presented to Koda for this concept was that Pearl's Overdrive form would be akin to Mega Pearl or Prince Pearl from what's probably one of the most memorable episodes of Future, Volleyball. Obviously, without Pink Pearl's gem, there's no need for a midriff. But considering Pearl's upbringing as a warrior, how much she admires and respects the human concept of a knight, alongside the Universe's love for revolutionary girl Utena, it just feels right that this would be her anime-esque transformation. Also made sure to include the detail that her hair would be similar to when she first served Pink Diamond, or in the 80s, 90s era from Story for Steven. One of the most crucial details when it comes to a transformation for me is the hair. So although we didn't do much for Garnet, I wanted to make sure Pearl got some love. And as you probably notice, or will notice if it's not yet colored in, Pearl's Overdrive form also sports her current color scheme of the mom jacket reformation, complete with the inside of her cape being pink. Now this weapon was all Koda. I absolutely love the idea of Pearl's spear evolving into a giant rose. Yes, she's recovering from everything that's happened between her and Pink. This would more so be done in homage to Pink, to Rose Quartz, the one who still gave Pearl her wings to fly, and empower her to become a warrior. With this weapon upgrade, I think Pearl's little light show she can use through her lasers would evolve into just full-on beams of destruction, or it could almost function like Aquamarine's wand, you know, pre-Era 3. And I only think this is possible because of the hollow pearls in their projection. They still have physical impact on the world around them. So ideally, whatever is within her gem to allow those holographic projections could instead be used to function more like a Green Lantern ring. Pearl can produce translucent objects out of her rose sphere, or simply encase someone within a beam. Last but not least, we have Amethyst, which I think was kind of the easiest one to figure out. I just knew that for Amethyst's Overdrive form, it would be cool if, through the increased mass, the herd form would appear closer to a properly developed Quartz soldier. She's still not all the way there yet, and I think that's important for her, but this form is able to give her just a little bit of a spoonful. As for her weapon upgrade, I was thinking, well, Holly Blue Agate is still a quartz, just a different kind of quartz, and her weapon is an electric whip. So I thought, what if Amethyst's whip just simply evolved into a different kind of elemental whip? But of course, Koda couldn't help but to make it even cooler than I imagined, giving Amethyst not just a flame whip, but also make it one giant mace. Now, I would also like to imagine that this whip could branch off into multiple directions. Like, let's say there were two enemies facing Amethyst. If she threw her whip, it would travel down the middle before splitting off into those different directions, wrapping perfectly around the enemies. It has like motion tracking or something. But if you have any more ideas for any of these forms, please drop them in the comments below. I would definitely love to hear any more ideas. And let us know if you want any more Overdrive videos. We could look at the Crystal Gem B team. We could even look at other gems. We can go all the way up to the diamonds. I think if I do continue talking about Steven Universe, this will be the main way to do so. Just creative scenarios and pitches and concepts. It definitely won't be as constant as it was before, but if you initially came to this channel for Steven Universe, I still have some thoughts in my head that I want to get out. So if you do choose to stick around, thank you. But as always, these are just my thoughts and Koda's amazing art, and I want to hear yours. What do you think? How do you feel about the concept of an Overdrive transformation? What would you change about it? What other transformations would you want to see in Steven Universe? Has anyone else experimented with the ideas of gem transformations and how they would work? What would the drawbacks be? Let us know in the comments down below, or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids, or me at ARTWITHKODA. We're also on Instagram. And as always, thank you to ARTWITHKODA for an amazing commission yet again. For more of his wonderful art, you can find him on Tumblr and Instagram at ARTWITHKODA, and subscribe to his YouTube channel. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. ARTWITHKODA signing out.